What's up YouTube, it's Lauren here and I'm here with another video for you guys today. This time I've got another Red Pyramid read aloud, audiobook, whatever you want to call it. We've got chapter 20 for today. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to read chapter 20. In the background I've got a whole bunch of stuff that's kind of, this is going to sound extremely, odd, but that's like my wake up in the morning and like spray cologne on and deodorant type table. Got all my cologne bottles and water bottles and stuff over there. So, and I have an alien skull, an Angry Bird head, and a little wooden castle thingy in the back. Oh, and yes, I did tack a magazine to my wall. All right, let's see if I can find chapter 20. Oh, and this is my phone right here, and everything on the floor is paper. Just letting you guys know so you don't think that I'm like, crazy or something. Chapter 20, that's chapter 19, that's a picnic in the sky. Wait, okay, chapter 19 was written by Sadie. One moment guys, get some, there we go. I knew there was something here. Oh, that's chapter 21. There we go. Finally, I finally figured it out. Okay. Alright, so chapter 20 is narrated by Sadie, and it's called I Visited the Star-Spangled Goddess. So, here we go. I hadn't realized how unsettling it would be. Carter had explained how his ba had left his body while he slept, but having it happen to me was another thing altogether. It was much worse than my vision in the Hall of Ages. There I was, floating in the air as a glowing, bird-like spirit, and there was no body below me, and there was my body below me, fast asleep. Just trying to describe it gives me a headache. My first thought as I gazed down on my sleeping form, God, I look awful. Bad enough looking in a mirror, seeing pictures of myself on my friends' web pages. Seeing myself in person was simply wrong. My hair was a rat's nest, the linen pajamas were not in the least flattering, and the spot on my chin was enormous. My second thought as I examined the strange shimmering form of my ba, this won't do at all. I didn't care if I was invisible to the mortal eye or not. After my bad experience as a kite, I simply refused to go about as a glowing sadie-headed chicken. That's fine for Carter, but I have standards. I could feel the currents of the Duat tugging at me, trying to pull my ba to wherever souls go when they have visions, but I wasn't ready. I concentrated hard and imagined my normal appearance. Well, alright, perhaps my appearance as I'd like it to be, a bit better than normal. And voila! My ba morphed into human form, still see through and glowing, mind you, but more like a proper ghost. Well, at least that's sorted, I thought, and I allowed the currents to sweep me away. The world melted to black. At first I was nowhere, just a dark void. Then a young man stepped out of the shadows. You again, he said. I stammered, honestly, you know me well enough by now. That's not like me, but this was the boy I'd seen in my Hall of Ages vision. The very handsome boy with the black robes and tousled hair. His dark brown eyes had the most unnerving effect on me, and I was very glad I'd changed out of my glowing chicken outfit. I tried again and managed 3 entire words. What are you doing here? He said, gallantly finishing my sentence. Spirit travel and death are very similar. Not sure what that means, I said. Should I be worried? He tilted his head as if considering the question. Not this trip. She only wants to talk to you. Go ahead. He waved his hand and the doorway opened in the darkness. I was pulled towards it. See you again? I asked. But the boy was gone. I found myself standing in a luxury flat in the middle of the sky. It had no walls, no ceiling, and a see-through floor looking straight down at city lights from the height of an airplane. Clouds drifted below my feet. The air should have been freezing cold and too thin to breathe, but I felt warm and comfortable. Black leather sofas made a U round a glass coffee table on a blood-red rug. A fire burned in a slate fireplace. Bookshelves and paintings hovered in the air where the walls should have been. A black granite bar stood in the corner, and in the shadows behind it a woman was making tea. "Hello, my child," she said. She stepped into the light, and I gasped. She wore an Egyptian kilt from the waist down. From the waist up, she wore only a bikini top, and her skin was dark blue, covered with stars. I don't mean painted stars. She had the entire cosmos living on her skin. Gleaming constellations, galaxies too bright to look at, glowing nebula of pink and blue dust. Her features seemed to disappear into the stars that shifted across her face. Her hair was long and as black as midnight. "You're the nut," I said, then I realized maybe that had come out wrong. I mean, the sky goddess. The goddess smiled. Her bright white teeth were like a new galaxy bursting into existence. "Nut is fine, and believe me, I've heard all of the jokes about my name." She poured a second cup from her teapot. "Let's sit down and talk. Care for some salab? It's not tea?" "No, it's an Egyptian drink. You've heard of hot chocolate? This is rather like hot vanilla." I would have preferred tea, as I hadn't had a proper cup in ages, but I suppose one didn't turn down a goddess. Yeah, thanks." We sat together on the sofa. Sorry about this, my eyes are bugging me. To my surprise, my glowing spirity hands had no trouble holding a teacup, and I could drink quite easily. The salab was sweet and tasty, with just a hint of cinnamon and coconut. It warmed me up nicely and filled the air with the smell of vanilla. For the first time in days, I felt safe. Then I remembered I was only here in spirit. Nut set down her cup. "I suppose you're wondering why I've brought you here." "Where exactly is here, and who's your doorman?" I hoped she'd drop some information about the boy in black, but she only smiled. "I must keep my secrets, dear. I can't have the House of Life trying to find me. Let's just say I've built this home with a nice city view. Is that—" I gestured to her starry blue skin. Are you inside a human host?" "No, dear. The sky itself is my body. This is merely a manifestation." "But I thought gods need a physical host outside of the Duat?" "It's somewhat easier for me, being a spirit of the air. I was one of the few gods who was never imprisoned, because the House of Life could never catch me. I'm used to being free form." Suddenly, Nut and the entire apartment flickered. Felt like I would drop to the floor, and then the sofa became stable again. "Please don't do that again," I begged. "My apologies," Nut said. "The point is, each god is different, but all my brethren are free now, all finding places in this modern world of yours. They won't be imprisoned again." "No," Nut agreed. "That's the first reason you are here. A battle between the gods and the House of Life would serve only chaos. You must make the magicians understand this." "They won't listen to me. They think I'm a godling." "You are a godling, dear." She touched my hair gently, and I felt Isis stirring within me, struggling to speak using my voice. "I'm Sadie Kane," I said. "I didn't ask for Isis to hitch a ride. The gods have known your family for generations, Sadie. In the olden days, we worked together for the benefit of Egypt. The magician said that gods caused the fall of the empire." "That is a long and pointless debate," Nut said, and I could hear an edge of anger in her voice. "All empires fall, but the idea of Egypt is eternal. The triumph of civilization, the forces of Ma'at overcoming the forces of chaos. That battle is fought generation after generation, and now it's your turn." I know, I said. "We have to defeat Set." "But is it that simple, Sadie? Set is my son, too. In the old days, he was Ra's strongest lieutenant. He's protected the sun god's boat from the serpent Apophis. Now there was evil. Apophis was the embodiment of chaos. He hated creation from the moment the first mountain appeared out of the sea. He hated the gods, mortals, and everything they built. And yet Set fought against him. Set was one of us." "Then he turned evil?" Nut shrugged. "Set has always been Set, for better or worse, but he is still part of our family. It's difficult to lose any member of your family, is it not?" My throat tightened. "That's hardly fair." "Don't speak to me of fairness," Nut said. "For 5,000 years I have been kept apart from my husband Geb." I vaguely remembered Carter saying something about this, but it seemed different listening to her now, hearing the pain in her voice. "What happened?" I asked. "Punishment for bearing my children," she said bitterly. "I disobeyed Ra's wishes, so he ordered my own father Hang on, I said, Shu? Shu, she said, the god of the wind. "Oh, I wish these gods had names that weren't common household items." "Go on, please." "Ra ordered my father Shu to keep us apart forever. I am exiled to the sky, while my beloved Geb cannot leave the ground. What happens if you try? Nut closed her eyes and spread her hands. A hole opened where she was sitting, and she fell through the air. Instantly the clouds below us flickered with lightning. Winds raged across the flat, throwing books off the shelf, ripping away paintings and flinging them into the void. My teacup leaped out of my hand, grabbed the sofa to avoid getting blown away myself. Below me, lightning struck Nut's form. The wind pushed her violently upward, shooting past me. Then the winds died. Nut settled back onto the couch. She waved her hand and the flat repaired itself. Everything returned to normal. That happens, she said sadly. Oh. She gazed at the city lights far below. It has given me appreciation for my children, even Set. He has done horrible things, yes. It is his nature, but he is still my son, and still one of the gods. He acts his part. Perhaps the way to defeat him is not the way you would imagine. Hints, please? Seek out Thoth. He has a new home in Memphis. Memphis, Egypt? Nut smiled. Memphis, Tennessee, although the old bird probably thinks it is Egypt. He so rarely takes his beak out of his books. Doubt he would know the difference. You will find him there. He can advise you. Be wary, though. Thoth often asks for favors. He is sometimes hard to predict. Getting used to that, I said. How are we supposed to get there? I'm the goddess of the sky. I can guarantee you safe travel as far as Memphis. She waved her hand and a folder appeared in my lap. Inside were 3 plane tickets. Washington to Memphis, first class. I raised my eyebrow. I suppose you get a lot of frequent flyer miles? Something like that, Nut agreed. But as you get closer to Set, you will be beyond my help, and I cannot protect you on the ground. Which reminds me, you need to wake up soon. Set's minion is closing in on your hideout. I sat up straight. How soon? Minutes. Send my spirit back then. I pinched my ghostly arm, which hurt just like it would on my normal arm, but nothing happened. Soon, Sadie, Nut promised, but 2 more things you must know. I had 5 children during the demon days. If your father release all of them, you should consider. Where is the 5th? I racked my brain trying to remember the names of all of Nut's 5 children. A bit difficult without my brother, the human and Wikipedia, around to keep track of such trivia for me. There was Osiris, the king, and Isis, his queen, Set, the evil god, and Horus, the avenger. But the 5th child of Nut, the one Carter said he could never remember. Then I recalled my vision in the Hall of Ages. Osiris's birthday and the woman in blue who'd helped Isis escape Set. You mean Nephthys, Set's wife. Consider it, Nut said again, and lastly a favor. She opened her hand and produced an envelope sealed with red wax. If you see Geb, will you give him this? I'd been asked to pass notes before, but never between gods. Honestly, Nut's anguished expression was no different than those of my love-struck friends back at school. I wondered if she'd ever written on her notebook, Geb plus Nut equals true love, or Miss Geb. Least I can do, I promised. Now, about sending me back. Safe travels, Sadie, the goddess said. And Isis, restrain yourself. The spirit of Isis rumbled inside me as if I'd eaten a bad curry. Wait, I said. What do you mean restrain? Before I could finish, my vision went black. I snapped awake, back in my own body at the Washington Monument. Leave now! Carter and Bass jumped in surprise. They were already awake, packing their things. What's wrong? Carter asked. I told them about my vision while I frantically searched my pockets. Nothing. I checked my magician's bag. Tucked inside with my wand and rod were 3 plane tickets in a sealed envelope. Bass examined the tickets. Excellent! First class served salmon. But what about Set's minion? I asked. Carter glanced out the window. His eyes widened. Yeah, it's here. Alright, guys. That was chapter 20 of The Red Pyramid by Rick Riordan, part of the Kane Chronicles series. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you did, and I will see you guys next time on my next video. I apologize if my voice was kind of, in and out, and my words were a little bit skippy. I'm having a hard time trying to focus today, so, Anyways, peace out, guys.